Good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Sit back, relax, and enjoy another Silk Report. Okay, let's get straight to it, shall we? Ashley Barty making a Grand Slam final again, but this time with a slight difference. She's making the Australian Open final for the first time. She's going for her first Australian Open title, having beaten Madison Keys in straight sets. Let me know what you think of this match in the live chat. We're going to focus on, we've got 4 semi-finals, either 2 on the horizon in terms of the men, 2 women's to look back on as well. Let me know what you think in the live chat regarding Barty and Keys now. We'll be doing this for the next few minutes, so pop in your questions regarding this particular match. Do you think it was a boring match? Do you think it was a bit easy, perhaps? And let me know as well how you think that compared to the other one. Yeah, let's get to it. Let's get through some tweets very quickly. One for the history books. Why is this one for the history books? Well, she's the first Australian woman in an Australian Open final in 42 years. Was she aware of the history? I think she was. If she wasn't, she was certainly reminded of it afterwards, and it's why Ash Barty retweeted this tweet, as we can see here. Ash Barty becomes the first Australian woman to advance to the Australian Open final since Wendy Turnbull in 1980. She lost just 10 points on serve, winning 6-1, 6-3. In fact, en route to the final, she's only lost 21 games altogether across the 6 matches, and she's only been broken once. And as you can see, in classic Ash Barty style, looking pretty content. And I've actually just got a freeze here on the match point because I think it just sort of sums up the match, almost sums up Ash Barty's tournament, you could argue. Look at the precision on that placement. She could go pretty much anywhere here, and with a wrong-footed Keys going in the wrong direction in every single metaphor possible. But look at this precision on the winning point. And that's Ash Barty for you. Let's have a quick look at some of the stats from today's match. She's obviously won here 6-1, 6-3. But let's have a bit of a deep dive. 7 winners from Barty, 5 from Keys. Barty doesn't quite, at least to the eye, to the casual observer, doesn't quite seem to have the power that Collins has. But we'll come to that shortly. Just 1 ace from Keys today. She couldn't hit through Barty like she did other opponents. And yeah, too many unforced errors. I found it quite an underwhelming performance altogether regarding Barty today. Just almost too easy, I had in my notes. Whether Collins in the final, who she'll be playing, and we'll come on to that very shortly, whether she can handle the Barty slice as Barty tries to slow the point down, whether Collins will get frustrated with that in the final is another question. Let me know what you think in the live chat. I'm going to go to the live chat now and have a quick look at some of your comments so far. Liam just simply saying, "Shoo!" I know many people are getting a bit frustrated with that regarding the audience there. Kathy, yes, super sorry that I was late. Or we were all late. I don't know if you're still awake. If you are, let me know in the live chat. Great. You were the first to hit the like. Yeah, Kathy. Yeah, Madison just didn't show up. I think you're right. I think that was an underwhelming performance from her today. Anyway, thanks for hanging on in there for us, Kathy. We do appreciate it. Ivan Villa there. I'm saying it in the British way, but maybe in the Spanish way it would be Ivan Villa. Silk Report, baby. Nice to have you on board. Brandon, first time the Silk Report is early enough for me to watch it live, despite the fact it's on at 3 a.m. for me. Normally, I always make sure to watch it the next day or even 2 days after. Thanks, Brandon, for your support. Hopefully, you can hang on for us, even despite it still being a little bit early in the early hours of the morning for you. Yeah, today, obviously, having the straight sets victories meant I could come to you a little bit earlier. Tomorrow with 2 men's matches, potentially going 5 sets, and I'll be coming to that later. Who knows how that will be, and who knows what time I can go live. We try, it's not always easy because we all have jobs as well, but we're going to try and go an hour after the end for the final Silk Reports for the men's semis tomorrow, and also the women's final and also the men's final. I'll try and come to you about 1 hour after those matches finish, depending on how much drama there is to report, or perhaps how much lack of drama. Sometimes these Silk Reports, today, to some extent, what can you say about the Barty Keys match? What can you say? It was just all too easy for her. I guess the thing that I'm most interested in is to see how Barty is going to be against an incredibly powerful player. And that was always going to be the case, whether she was playing Swiatek or Collins, as it turns out. The other thing as well, will Barty, will the pressure get to her? It hasn't got to her so far. But has she had an easy run to the final? Let me know what you think. Certainly in terms of the way she dispatched her opponents all the way to the final, it has been very easy. Is that Ash Barty? Was it her opponents? Let me know what you think in the live chat. Talking of which, let's come to it again. David O'Halloran, by the way, nice to have you on board. Collins could be a real threat to Barty, but it's hard to judge her level, as Swiatek was way off her top level today. Yeah, exactly. I just don't know. Is Barty playing amazingly? Or are her opponents, just not being able to handle the slice? Talking of the slice, let's have a quick look at a tweet here. Watching Ash Barty like Australian Open 2022. There we go. Self-promotion tweet alert. Apologies for that. Let's get back to it anyway. So let me know if you think Collins can handle the slice. That's the big question for me. Ash Barty will get a few aces. She'll get a few winners for sure. She's not a slow player in terms of the way she hits her shots. She has some venom in her forehand in particular. But I just don't know whether Collins will get frustrated. We saw that in the quarterfinal that Collins had, and also in the fourth round. I've been following Collins quite closely throughout this tournament. She does get frustrated sometimes. She'll go for the winner. It'll come back to her. She'll go for the winner. It'll come back to her. Well, it's going to come back to her with interest, especially if Ash Barty can get on that slice. My advice would be to avoid the backhand. Go for winners, but to the Ash Barty forehand. Or perhaps you might say, listen, go to the backhand with absolute venom, because if you're going with venom and you're hitting your spots, Barty can't do a slice. The only way Barty can do a slice is if she has time to prepare. And Madison Keys gave her that time today, I think. Although, really, this wasn't really a match about the Ash Barty slice. There was all sorts of a variety of shots. In fact, I did see, I think it might have been Mats Wilander afterwards, but somebody certainly afterwards is saying, listen, Ash Barty, it was her previous opponent in the quarterfinals, said that basically, Pegula just said, Barty is better in every category. If that's the case, and she shows it in the final, there's only going to be one winner. Just a quick point as well. Of course, this being her first Australian Open title potentially, which will also mean that Ash Barty has won across all three surfaces, having won the French Open in 2019 and Wimbledon, of course, last year. Wimbledon, she went to 3 sets in that final, if I'm right. Will she go to 3 sets on Sunday? I suspect yes. So let's get to her opponent on Sunday, who will be Danielle Collins, having touched on it a few times already. She beat Swiatek today in straight sets, 6-4, 6-1. I think it was a bit more competitive than this statistic suggests. Excuse me. It's a bit more competitive than this suggests. But basically, Collins sealed the match with a mid-match run. I think it was 5 games in a row, was it, between the end of the first set and the beginning of the second set? Remember those stats I was also firing off in the live chat? I think it was like 14 out of 16 points she won in that middle sector of the match, which was just phenomenal. Collins was hitting her spots and hitting them with power, and Swiatek had no answer for it. I guess Swiatek is one of the best players in the world. On clay, the best player in the world. On a hard court, she's just a little short, and she just fell short today. I think it was a bit closer than this straight set suggests. They were exchanging breaks of serve quite a lot in the first set. I mean, Collins raced into a 3-love lead with 2 breaks, but Swiatek then got it back to just 1 break, and that was how it sort of continued for the rest of the set. And at 5-4 to Collins in that first set, that was really, as I say, Collins then put on the afterburners and there was no coming back from there. Look at this though. Collins, 19 winners over 2 sets, I think, as well, which adds to that. Yes, we've seen more impressive winner stats, but that's against Swiatek as well, which adds to the credence, if you like, and adds to the value of those winners. And Swiatek, by the way, I remember having a brief chat with JG in a live chat, I think it was the other day. And I was talking about just how aggressive Collins has been during this tournament and just how unbelievable she's been, especially in terms of winners. And JG said, what about Swiatek? She's aggressive. She goes for winners too. Well, in the battle of the winners, if you like, today, there was only one winner, and that was the American. Let me just have a quick look at some of my notes. Yes, I do take notes. Collins, fast out of the traps. She broke immediately, 3-love. Iga seemed to be a bit timid at the beginning. Let me know what you think in the live chat regarding this match. David O'Halloran coming up there with Collins could be a real threat to Barty, but it's hard to judge her level. Yeah, we've already spoke about that. Thank you, David, just repeating that point. Do you think Collins will go for broke style will be effective in the final, Brandon? I think, regarding that question, I think if Collins' nerve is fine, because with the go for broke style, you are relying on your ability to handle the pressure. It's Collins' first slam final. This is not Barty's first, albeit Barty's got the home crowd. I don't think the home crowd will make too much of a difference. I don't think that will bother Collins too much, but will the occasion get to her? If Collins can handle the occasion of being in a slam final, absolutely it can be effective. And I hope that she doesn't get affected by the nerves and we have this unbelievable kind of opposites matchup. Am I being a bit harsh on Barty in terms of saying that they're kind of opposites? One being Collins very aggressive. Let me know what you think in the live chat. Liam being very hard on Keys there, saying that he thought she was pathetic. Boban saying Collins was a safe bet today. Iga's not ready for hard court finals yet. I think you're probably right. I think this is basically where Iga is. She's one of the top 4 or 5 players in the world across all the surfaces as an average. She's the best on clay, but there's too many people on hard court that probably can beat her. Johnny Boy on the cake there, Liam. Nice, yeah. Oh, yeah, Kathy. Collins hits aces too, absolutely. And some on the second serve. She got 7 aces today, and at least 2 of them were on the second serve. Just unbelievable, brave tennis. And if she can bring that brave game to the final, but brave and not being nervous, because that's where, and not getting frustrated, because that's where she could lose the final. If she's overawed by the occasion and starts not hitting the spots, because that's where you've got to control your nerve in particular. But keep it up, Collins, and you've got an excellent chance in that final. Boban, they're saying Barty is more than a slice, although her slice is almost as good as Graf's. Good that you go back as far as I do, Boban, in terms of Steffi Graf's there. Yeah, no, she's definitely more than just a slice. I'm very aware of that. And as Pegula said, she's arguably, certainly in comparison to Pegula, she was just better in every department. Barty hasn't been a top 10 player in any of her slam victories, or is it in this tournament? Yeah, that's interesting. So, yeah, well, you mean a top 10 player in any of her finals in those slams? Okay, well, Collins is not a top 10 player right now, but I would argue the way she's playing right now is, well, top 2 in this tournament. It's no luck that she's in the final. Straight sets against Swiatek in the semis. So there we go. Yes, Ben, make sure we hit the like button, everyone. Hit the subscribe button too. Let me know how many likes we're on, by the way. A nice comment here from RS. Collins has the maturity to handle the occasion, in my opinion. Hope you're right, but we don't know. That's the thing. And I don't know if age... if you're in your 30s, let's say, if you're in your mid-30s, like a Monfils on the men's side, you would worry about Monfils in a final for a variety of reasons. But also, this is your moment and your only moment. We saw it with Ivan Isavic and Pat Rafter in that final of 2001 as well. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I go back as well. How could they handle the occasion? We just don't know with Collins. And I don't know if she may well be able to handle the occasion, RS, you're absolutely right. But I don't know if age actually is a factor. I think in a way, being super young in terms of that can actually help, because you might not be quite so nervous as your opponent, who may have all the maturity and experience, but they may know it's their last chance. Of course, that's not the case with Barty. She'll be getting many more chances, I'm sure. But is there more pressure on Barty? Maybe that. Barty's the favorite. Barty's the home the home favorite as well, in terms of she'll have to support the crowd. Will that go in her favor? Will it go against her? Let me know what you think in the chat. Johnny, you're such a legend. Thank you, Liam, spreading the love. That's nice. Jack Nolte would love Barty versus Serena matchup before Serena retires. Yes, wouldn't we all? And loving that match with Serena fit and firing on all cylinders. Brandon there reminding us, yeah, she has the eyes of the whole country on her. Yes, that's true. How will she handle that? Let me know in the live chat. How many likes are we on, by the way? Have we hit 25 likes yet? Maybe 30, please. 30 likes. Okay, cool. Brandon, no, just in slams in general. Oh, so Brandon, are you telling me that she's never beaten a top 10 player at a slam? That does seem a bit crazy. Are you saying that she's never beaten one in a final? Are you saying that 25 likes on the dot? Great, thanks, Brandon. I'd like to know a bit more about that stat, actually, because that does seem crazy. She's never played a top 10 player at a slam. I can't believe that. Anyway, let me know what you think. So anyway, Collins today. Let's just quickly run through the match as it panned out. Iga was timid at the start. Tick. I think that she was. And I think the first 3 games, I talked about that middle part of the match, really where Collins raced away with it. But I see that as also the start from Iga didn't do her any favors, because by then she was always playing catch up, and she never did quite manage to catch up in every sense of the word or expression. She did try to step up in game 4, I felt, and that's when she really, did react to the moment, but she was too slow out of the blocks, in my opinion. Exchanging breaks, but Collins takes the break. I like that as well with Collins. When Collins is broken, Brandon, no, the 2 slams that she won. Thanks, Brandon. That's nice. It's a great stat, and I'm glad you've cleared it up. Pliskova was 8th seed at Wimbledon last year, but don't think she was actually top 10. Got it. Yeah, okay, Brandon. Thanks very much. So basically, the 2 slams that she's won, she hasn't been a top 10 player. Yeah, that's an interesting stat. But to be honest with you, I'm kind of more interested than world ranking. I'm kind of more interested in form in that moment. And if you've got to a quarterfinal, a semi-final, or a final on clay or on grass where she's won the 2 slams, you're playing well, So you could say not playing a top 10 or top 10 player in the world is a little favorable. I think certainly during this draw, Barty has had the favor of a bit of luck. I think certainly when you compare it to Collins's run, I think, or Swiatek as well, I think she did have a slightly kinder draw, but not taking anything away from Ash Barty. She is the best player in the world, no matter what happens on Sunday, and she's fully deserving of the 2 slams she's already won. So yes, back to the match. Collins there, as we see, 4 double faults, but she is slightly more aggressive, I think, on her second serve, even than Swiatek. What did you think of Swiatek's serving today, by the way? I know JG was very critical of Swiatek's serving. Fair enough. Was that where she lost the match? Possibly that's an element to her losing the match. But to be honest with you, I'd rather praise Collins' performance because it was just outstanding today. And I think once the double break emerged in that second set, once it was 4-love, I think, during that period where I said that, I think, as I say, Collins won 7 out of the last 8 games. And congrats to her. Iga looked broken mentally during that period as well. That sort of middle period of the match that I mentioned, the sort of 4 games in a row moment, 5 games in a row. I just sort of saw Iga and I thought, yeah. And even on the match point that Iga saved, the first match point, there was a moment in that rally where Iga sort of paused, thinking that the point is done, but she managed to actually get back into it because I think the shorter shot from Collins, which brought Swiatek into the net, sort of gave Swiatek a chance again. But I think she thought she'd lost that point. There wasn't quite the same level of fighting spirit that we saw in the previous round when she was on match point, if you like. So I felt a bit sad for her today, but whatever. She'll return, and she'll return with interest, I'm sure, at the French Open, where I make her favorite. At the moment, I make her favorite because I know she went out in the quarterfinals last year. She seemed a bit off color in that quarterfinals. I don't know whether she had an injury of some sort, but until the quarterfinals, she was looking unbelievable. She won Rome 6-love in the final. I always think Rome is a pretty good indicator of the French Open, albeit that last year the two winners in Rome, Nadal and Swiatek, didn't go on to win Roland Garros. I know that, but generally it's a good indicator. And right now, she is as strong a favourite for the French Open as Nadal is for me. Okay, so quick look ahead to the final. Let me know about your predictions for the women's final in the chat. I guess I would go for... Head says Barty, heart says Collins. Let's go with that. Am I sitting on the fence? You bet I am. Let me know what you think in the chat. All Swiatek's second serves went to the Collins backhand, way too predictable. Collins won't be able to attack the Barty serve the same way she did today. Both fair, both accurate. Yeah. I don't know what this is. Sam talking about if men were doing best of three. We're talking about pay there. Yeah, I mean, I've already said what I think about the women's tennis there. I think I would like to see 5 sets at least for the final. Midnight Woodsman going for Barty win, losing the first set. I love the way this is a really precise prediction here from the Midnight Woodsman. 4-6, 6-3, 6-3. I'm someone, by the way, who will make a prediction. And not only will I sit on the fence as I've done for the final, if you like, but I also don't always predict the amount of sets just because I think it's quite tricky. Let's just hope it's 3 sets in the final. And if Collins brings her A game, it's definitely going to 3 sets. My question is, will she bring her A game? Boban going for Barty in 3, Eduardo going for Collins in 3. Yeah, fair enough. Nathan, they're 55 and 60-minute matches. Yeah, today was, I think, 63-minute match, 62-minute match. So, yeah. But I'd love to see a 5-set women's final. I think that would be a great introduction to the game. We don't have to worry about scheduling issues by that stage of the tournament. And I'd like to see how it pans out, maybe across a year. Maybe one of the slams might do it. And I would like to, if I was a managing director of one Grand Slam, I'd be saying, I want 5 sets for a women's final. And I guarantee you the interest in that final will increase, I'm sure, to see how it goes. The other 3 slams will be watching, I'm sure, with interest. And then they would follow suit. I'm absolutely convinced of it. And then, to be honest with you, we might start seeing 5 sets at the semi-final stage as well. And I'd be all for that too. Regarding the first week, might be a little bit more tricky in terms of the scheduling, like I said. I think we'd have to build another half a dozen courts at each venue, so that might not be happening anytime soon. David going for Barty in 2, but over an hour. Yeah, well, let's hope so. I watched this from Alex. Wallet says Barty. Head and heart say Barty as well. So basically, every single department, Alex is going for Barty. That's fair. Kathy saying women say they don't mind 5. It's TV that doesn't want it. Yeah, well... I have a word to describe TV's opinion. Does really TV not want it? I see no reason why it couldn't be an interesting spectacle, and it'll certainly give you more time to tune in, but then they might not get quite the peak that they would imagine. Let's try it. As somebody mentioned the other day, best of 5 used to be the case for women's tennis, so let's bring it back, in my opinion, at least for the final. Yeah, why wouldn't women's tennis, or why wouldn't TV want 5 sets for the final? Yeah, I completely agree. Liam, by the way, suggesting if Barty doesn't win, I'll eat a tennis ball. Remind him of that. By the way, follow Liam on Twitter and send him as many tweets as you wish, reminding him to eat a tennis ball if Collins doesn't win. What are you going to eat, by the way, if Barty does win? Slice of cake. That's a nice one. I'm guarantee you'll be supporting Ash Barty in the final if it's cake or tennis ball consumption. Cool. Somebody there going with Rafa Goat. Interesting. Yeah, nice. Cool. Let's have a quick look now at some other things that happened today around Melbourne. Let's have a quick look at Dylan Alcott's bid to win the quads final. Unfortunately, his dream didn't quite work out as he now retires from the sport, losing to Sam Schroeder of the Netherlands, of course. Sam Schroeder did beat him in the US Open in 2020, so Perhaps we should have seen this coming. Nevertheless, Alcott said he still felt the luckiest guy in the world. It was nice of Ash Barty as well in her on-court interview afterwards, mentioning Dylan Alcott and mentioning what a inspiration he is. But obviously losing here today, 7-5, 6-love. We'll just have a quick look at the first few words in this article in The Guardian. He said he would live if he did not win. That's what he said beforehand. And live Dylan Alcott shall, without an 8th consecutive Australian Open, but with his nation behind him. Absolutely. And that was something that also Ash Barty mentioned in her build-up. And she said, in her on-court interview, and she also said how she was watching the match before her match and was getting so involved that she almost forgot that she had to play a match today, which is kind of funny. So Alcott lost his quad singles at Rod Laver Arena in a bid as he bidded farewell to the sport and a career that's been matched by so few, featuring 23 Grand Slam quad titles, including 15 in the singles, Paralympic gold medals, and a revered Golden Slam. And don't forget, at the US Open last year, when he managed to drink some beer out of his US Open title that he won, which I think is also a particular highlight. Let's move on to another thing that occurred today in Melbourne. Kokkinakis and Kyrgiakos train continues as they now make it into a final. And Kokkinakis here, lovely tweet here saying moments. There will be a final episode, as the Australian Open tweeted here. They won 7-6, 6-4, calling it an upset over number 3 seeds. I guess so, but having also won against the number 1 seed previously, is it an upset? And they'll now, of course, play the Australians Ebden and Purcell in the final, which I believe we're going to be covering on Game to Love. So keep an eye out for that. I think it's on Saturday after the women's final. So please tune in for both the women's final on Game to Love, but also that. Make sure you hit that like button, people. How many likes are we on? Please let me know in the live chat. So here's a nice, of course, tweet from Jose Morgado. And a nice image of both Kyrgios, but also Kokkinakis there in the background celebrating. I've also got this funny little image from their press conference. Obviously, this is as they walk in. I also quite like it because clearly Kyrgios has been watching the show. Clearly Kyrgios has been paying attention. Because, of course, we've mentioned animals at various points, whether it be cockroaches or seagulls or butterflies with Yannick Sinner. Now, Kyrgios, of course, having sort of caught on the Game to Love bandwagon, turns up with, I believe, a snake on his T-shirt. Does that mean we'll be seeing a snake on court anytime soon? Don't know. Okay. What image shall I leave you with? Let's have this little image just while I have a little interlude here to go to the chat. It's a nice image of Ash Barty there, and the 42 years broken record or broken stream, if you like. JG mentioned that's the first ever doubles match we'll be having on GTL. Nice. Let's go to Brandon there. During the broadcast, they showed Berrettini, Medvedev, and Tsitsipas all watching while they were training. Yeah, I heard something about that. I think it was at Channel 9 in Australia. I'm not sure which channel it was. Yeah, it was something about midway through one of the matches, they went and cut to Kokkinakis and Kyrgios training. I'm really all for this bandwagon. I'm really excited by it. Not sure if we need to see them training, though, during a men's, was it quarterfinal or semifinal? I'm not sure which. Cool. 37 likes, Brandon. Thank you very much for letting me know. Laughing at my pronunciations, Nathan. They're now more random than ever. Yeah, Kokkinakis and Kyrgios. Yeah. I think I'm pretty good on Kyrgios generally. Maybe I just tripped over my words then, and I apologize for that. Liam, really happy for Kyrgios. I think it means that this means a lot to him. Yeah, I think it does. I almost think there's an element of the environment as well of doubles that I think he probably maybe prefers, because it is kind of a fun thing, and he doesn't, he's got a teammate who he really likes and gets on well with. Yes, Channel 9. Thanks, Brandon. Yeah, well, yeah. So I think there is an element to this dynamic of playing in doubles that is kind of relaxes him a bit, and he just really enjoys it. So what I want to talk about now, we've done the women's, we've done the quads, we've done the men's doubles at least. So let's have a quick dip into what's coming ahead on GTL, in particular tomorrow, wherever you are. We've got obviously the men's semi-finals coming up. Where are we here? Yes, here we go. So we've got the men's semi-finals on at 3:30 a.m. UK time, 4:30 a.m. Central European time, beginning with Nadal and Berrettini, Medvedev and Tsitsipas. On Saturday, of course, we'll be covering both the women's final and, as I mentioned before, the men's doubles final. So please tune in for those. Coffee is nearly finished. And now I just want to have a quick touch on that. I know Ben and JG went pretty deep on their previews last night, so I won't be going too deep on my previews. But there are a couple of things I'd like to highlight. One is this regarding Berrettini and Nadal. It was something that Ash Barty said in her on-court interview afterwards, talking about the conditions. She compared the conditions for her match in the semi-final with the rest of the tournament, and she said that they were really different. Humid, the ball's a little bit slower, heavier off the strings. And I'm positing that this may not be great news for Rafa Nadal for his semi-final. I'm sure he will be hoping that the roof is open and it's sunny and dry. Let me know about the weather for tomorrow. Let me know in the live chat. Last I heard, storms were predicted, but that was yesterday, I believe. And I know we had some storms today, which is possibly also why things were slightly different. I saw some lightning, etc. So there is a response to that, though. I did ask for some tweets, and this is really nice of Deepak to get in touch. Irrespective of the conditions, Rafa will get the better of the Italian. Rafa has too much firepower, guile, and control. He cannot lose. And Maya here as well, mentioning that friend of the pod, Gil Gross, suggested that she hopes that Rafa loses. I guess she's a Matteo Berrettini fan. Also, although she might well be responding to Deepak, who knows whether she's supporting Rafa or Berrettini. But more importantly, she said that Gil Gross said that the roof won't affect Rafa's chances against Matteo, whereas it would if the opponent were Daniil. Let me know what you think of that. So basically what Gil is suggesting, I haven't seen any of his pods recently, but common consensus is Rafa, roof open, better news, roof close, bad news. Why? What is the evidence for that? Well, Rafa has won one title indoors in his career. Boom, that's huge evidence. Second piece of evidence is that we saw that semi-final I touched on the other day against Djokovic in 2018. Roof open, match was perhaps going Rafa's way, but didn't go his way once the roof was closed. Final piece of evidence is that Rafa even mentioned after his semi-final loss last year to Djokovic, I know the roof was open for the entirety of that match, but he did talk about how he wasn't getting quite so much topspin on the ball as the day turned into night. By the way, I love a tennis match that begins in the day and ends at night. It's just so cool. So let me know what you think of that in the live chat. Let me know your predictions as well. And just another little thing here I'd like to look at, which is Rafa Nadal's Australian Open record. And if you compare it to pretty much every other slam, it pales into comparison. If we see here in his first event, which was 2004, going out in the third round, that was to Leighton Hewitt, by the way, in a pretty legendary match for many reasons. Hewitt coming towards the end of his career, Rafa right at the beginning. And Rafa sort of announcing himself, maybe was a bit later before, probably, you could argue didn't really fully announce himself until the French Open of 2005. But there were certain matches before that where Rafa was announcing himself. Even perhaps afterwards in 2006 at Wimbledon, playing Agassi in what turned out to be Agassi's last ever match at Wimbledon. An incredible, not changing of the guard, because Rafa has never quite dominated Wimbledon in the same way that Federer or Djokovic have, for example. But there is a nice moment where the two careers are just overlapping, if you like. And there's a great on-court interview with both Nadal and his broken English at the time. His English has come on a lot since then. And Agassi as well, where they're both on court doing what was at the time a unique occasion, because they didn't do on-court interviews. I know they do them now at Wimbledon, but they've only just started doing that. So when we look at his record at the Australian Open, doesn't make for great reading. Any other person, by the way, I say doesn't make for great reading. Monfils would switch this record in a heartbeat, as he mentioned in his interview. So sad the other day in his press conference afterwards when he said, I don't want 20, I just want one. Well, one is what Rafa has in Australia. And we can see that he's gradually getting better and better until winning it in 2009. And if you'd said at that stage that he's only ever going to win one Australian Open, I think you'd be pretty shocked, because it doesn't really get much better for him. As we can see, some bad luck, some final losses, some injuries, but also final losses against better players, particularly Djokovic, but also Federer in 2017, getting revenge for that 2009 defeat. 2 quarterfinals as well. Doesn't make great reading. Can he improve upon that? Can he get to the final? I'll just have a quick look at a couple of live chats here. What have we got? Anything on Nadal? Not really. Hewitt was like 23, 24 in 2005, not the end of his career. Brendan, maybe you're right. But it felt like it. I know he won Wimbledon, Hewitt, in 2002. And in 2003, I remember seeing Hewitt at Wimbledon when he went out in the first round. It was my first ever match, actually, not just my first ever Wimbledon. 2003, when he lost to the big server, Carlo Eve, or what was his name? Carlo. Let me know in the live chat or in the private chat, guys. Anyway, so, but it's still, I don't know, maybe you're right, Brandon. Maybe I'm being harsh on him. Are you sure he was only 23, 24? It certainly felt like that. But Hewitt was one of these guys that really peaked early in his career and never quite returned to those heights again, I would say. Boban St. John, while you're in Budapest, you should go to Cafe Corey in Sass Street, close to the cathedral. They have the best local food. Thank you, Boban. I will try and check that out, and I'll let you know. I may even post something about it on Twitter, so keep an eye out for that. Brandon's going for a Berrettini win, 6-4, 3-6, 7-6, 6-3. Yeah, I actually am going for a Berrettini win as well. That's my... Oh, Ivo Karlovic. Thanks, Ben. Yeah, so, yeah, and he could win the title, as Mantap suggests there. Mantap Bro, thank you for that as well. Drake suggesting that Federer got so many titles in a weak era. Yeah, I think you've been a bit harsh on Federer there, but I know what you mean. Once Djokovic sort of joined the party, things got a lot tougher for them. That's for sure. Okay. I'm not backing Nadal, John. No, I'm not. I think Berrettini will win. I just think that I think the 5 sets that Nadal had, also 4 sets in the third round, also that tie break. I think, when it gets close now, Nadal is extremely vulnerable. And that's why I can't see Nadal winning another slam aside from the French, because I think he gets pushed too much. It's too tight for him now. And we see it's not like Djokovic. I mean, take Djokovic last year in the French Open final when he goes 2 sets to love down, goes and gets changed, comes out fresh as a daisy. He looked like he could have got another 5 sets. I don't recall the last time Rafa looked like that. Probably a few years. Probably, you could say 2017, but maybe before. I know he beat Thiem in 5 sets in 2018, but and I know he beat Medvedev in 2019 in that final. But let's say certainly not since 2019, certainly not since the pandemic, have I seen a tight match. And when I say tight, not even just 5 sets, also that Djokovic 4-setter at the... He doesn't look as fresh as his opponent. I know he wins occasional matches like he did the 5 sets against Shapovalov, but a better opponent than Shapovalov probably puts him away. And that's what Berrettini is. So that's why I'm backing Berrettini. Okay, let's get to the other semi, because I don't want to touch on this too much. Obviously, the semi is Medvedev against Tsitsipas. Check out those videos, by the way, from the GTL boys that they posted last night, previewing both of these semi-finals. There's also a preview for the women's semi-finals, of course, that is now passed. Feel free to go through that and pick apart whatever they said. This one's I think this one's a bit harder for me to call because of the head-to-head in particular, and Medvedev just basically being stronger. But I think given the form of the previous round, at least, Tsitsipas is looking good. And do you know what? I'm going Tsitsipas. Despite this head-to-head, despite the stats pretty much all being in the favor of the Russian. But there is one thing. Look at this. I know they're on different surfaces, etc. We've got indoor hard, and outdoor clay. But the last 3 times they've met, Tsitsipas has won those 2 matches of the head-to-head. Does that tell us something? I actually think, in a way, especially if they're in the last couple of years, I think the recency is important. Of course, Medvedev, though, outdoor hard, which is what the conditions will probably be tomorrow. We don't know yet in terms of the weather, whether the roof will be closed. But it was at this exact stage last year that Medvedev won. But I'm going Tsitsipas. And I think it'll be tight. I don't know whether it'll be 3 sets, 4 sets, or 5. But it'll be super tight. And it'll probably hopefully go to the wire, if you like. So that's my view on the match. Let's have a quick look at what we've got to come later on GTL this evening. We've got the Australian Open Women's Final preview, which will be on coming your way this evening. And as I touched upon earlier, the guys will have to hopefully get a little bit of sleep. I hope I can get some sleep tonight as well. Set the alarm super early, 3:30 UK time, 4:30 in Central European time, for example, Budapest, where I am right now. 5:30 if you're in South Africa or in Athens. And what time will it be in Melbourne? I guess 1:30 in the afternoon. So let's see if the roof is open and it's sunny and dry. Let's hope it's not too hot for both players' sake, because we don't want to see that. I do think there was a game, was it Krejcikova and even Madison Keys? I think arguably the weather destroyed that match in many respects. So let's hope it's not too hot for the both of them. Let's just have a quick look at your predictions before we go. Jean saying rain in the forecast tomorrow. Roof will be closed, I heard. Yeah, I'd heard exactly the same. I heard that a couple of days ago, and I've been hearing it ever since. So will be interesting. I guess possibly Gil Gross was touching on the fact that Berrettini's serve might not be so quick if the roof is closed. That might help Nadal. 2:30 in Melbourne. Okay, nice. Yes, 2:30 Melbourne time. Thanks, Brandon. 47 in the like. John would appreciate 100. Yikes, Meg's commentary. Yeah, we're quite far off that right now. So, yeah, just a second. Yeah, I'm okay. Thank you. We've never seen that on the GTL. That's off GTL first. Housekeeping coming to the room. I apologize for that little interlude there. But there we go. That's live commentary for you. Anything can happen, including animals on the court. Gene going Medvedev in 4. Jack going Tsitsipas in 5. Ben saying ha ha ha. I'm going to let the room service come and do their jobs. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you again tomorrow on the Silk Report. Ciao.